Welcome to Beyond the Stage. DECA continues to be a leader in supporting key educational initiatives through its comprehensive learning program, including competitive events. DECA's competitive events program directly supports career clusters, national curriculum standards, and 21st century skills. This webinar is designed to help DECA advisors be knowledgeable on these concepts and to understand the framework of DECA's competitive events program. We all know that DECA members aspire to win a DECA trophy and recognition, but that's not the ultimate prize. Throughout DECA's competitive events program, all students have the opportunity to gain content knowledge and employ 21st century skills, allowing everyone the potential to be winners by becoming college and career ready. Behind the recognition on stage, there's a lot that goes into DECA's competitive events program and what it takes to become a total winner. This includes content knowledge around national curriculum standards, career clusters, career pathways, instructional areas, and performance indicators, as well as 21st century skills and academic integration. In the next few slides, we'll define and discuss these important terms and concepts more. If you have your DECA guide handy, we encourage you to open it to the spread, which is taken directly from the DECA guide. It's a great visual connecting DECA's competitive events program to the career clusters, to each competitive event, to instructional areas, and career pathways. It will be helpful to refer to this throughout the presentation. Before we get into the framework, it's important to make sure that we're all on the same page with a few important terms. Career clusters. As an organizing tool for curriculum design and instruction, career clusters provide the essential knowledge and skills for the 16 career clusters and their career pathways. Career clusters provide students with relevant context for studying and learning by linking school-based learning with the knowledge and skills required for success in the workplace. The knowledge and skills encompass both secondary and post-secondary education, so the framework informs efforts to strengthen and improve student transition from secondary to post-secondary education. DECA supports 4 career clusters: marketing, business management and administration, finance, and hospitality and tourism. Career pathways. Each of the 16 career clusters is comprised of several career pathways or specialized career areas. These are represented on the career clusters handout that was shown in the DECA guide for each cluster. Instructional areas. They're broad areas of content knowledge such as promotion, pricing, emotional intelligence, business law that are comprised of many performance indicators. Performance indicators are the very specific knowledge and skills students are expected to address and perform during their competition. So let's jump into the curriculum structure behind DECA's competitive events program. This graphic is also in the DECA guide with a lot of information to explain it as well. The pyramid represents the continuum of knowledge, starting with the broad knowledge at the bottom at Tier 1 and working its way through more specialized knowledge based on the career area and specific career as you work your way up the tiers. We're going to go through each of the tiers and demonstrate their connection to curriculum as well as to DECA's competitive events program. We begin with Tier 1, the Business Administration Core. In Tier 1, this has common knowledge and skills across 12 instructional areas shared across the 4 career clusters that DECA supports. These are things that are relevant to all careers within the 4 clusters. So if you're in a marketing career or a finance career, these are knowledge and skills that will be essential regardless. One example might be demonstrating the use of effective communication. You have to be able to communicate for a career in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management. The performance indicators that are in the business administration core are used in all of DECA's exams except for entrepreneurship and personal financial literacy. Those are separate. They're also used in role plays for principles of business administration events. They're used in case studies for team decision-making events, and they're used in role plays for individual series events. Again, these performance indicators are the basis of all the content knowledge and skills for the 4 career clusters that DECA supports. This graph also demonstrates how it's being used. Moving on to Tier 2, instructional areas. Each cluster has its own set of instructional areas unique to careers within that cluster. For example, all careers in the marketing cluster require a strong foundation in the areas of channel management, marketing information management, market planning, pricing, product service management, promotion, and selling, commonly referred to as functions of marketing. In the finance cluster, for example, specialized content's divided into the areas of compliance, financial information management, product service management, and risk management. You'll see on the career cluster graphic that has all the competitive events and the guide from earlier that the pathways are listed on this handout for each one of the career clusters. So the connection for Tier 2 instructional areas to DECA's competitive events program. These are only used in the cluster exams. The performance indicators are used in case studies for team decision-making events, and the performance indicators are used in role plays for individual series events. So, for example, if a student's in one of our Principles of Business Administration events, these Tier 2 performance indicators will not be relevant to them because the Business Administration core links back to Tier 1. However, if you're in a marketing event, for example, those students would need to know the Business Administration core, Tier 1, plus the knowledge and skills in the marketing cluster for the exam, case studies, and role plays. Again, this is demonstrated in this graphic, Tier 2. So for example, on the team decision-making events, performance indicators are pulled from Tier 1 for the exam and case study, and Tier 2 for the exam and case study as well. Moving on to Tier 3. Career clusters are then separated into career pathways. These group similar careers together into broad-based occupational categories. The marketing cluster, for example, contains common knowledge and skills for all professional selling professions, which are different than those in marketing research. In the hospitality cluster, for example, knowledge and skills needed for a career in lodging may differ from the knowledge and skills needed for a career in recreation, amusements, and attractions. The connection to Tier 3 career pathways to DECA's competitive events program is that they're used in role plays for individual series events. They're not used in exams or the team decision-making events. So for Tier 3, it really applies only to individual series events and the role plays for that. Performance indicators from Tier 3 are not used to make any exam questions. The exams stop at Tier 2 for the clusters and Tier 1 for the business administration core. So you'll see here that for Tier 3, as I just mentioned, the individual series events use the exam and role play performance indicators in Tier 1 and Tier 2, but performance indicators from Tier 3 will only show up in the role play for individual series events. You can see the different career pathways for each of the 4 clusters. This is also shown on the handout with the cluster wheel that's in the DECA guide. Tier 4 are what we call specialties. These are knowledge and careers needed for very specific careers. For example, in the professional selling pathway, specialty careers may include advertising sales, pharmaceutical sales, real estate sales, and more. They contain very specialized knowledge and skills. Currently, there's no competitive events connection for this tier. However, performance indicators in the National Curriculum Standards do exist at this level. We just do not use them in the DECA competitive events program. Each performance indicator is assigned a curriculum planning level. These demonstrate the progression from a broad set of knowledge and skills to a very specialized set of knowledge and skills for a specific career. Rigor is managed by these curriculum planning levels, with the simplest being at the prerequisite level. While there are 6 levels, DECA mostly uses the first 3, prerequisite, career sustaining, and specialist. However, the new entrepreneurship performance indicators pull from the supervisor, manager, and owner levels. The definitions, as explained in the National Curriculum Standards, include prerequisite. Content develops employability and job survival skills and concepts, including work ethics, personal appearance, and general business behavior. Career sustaining. The content develops skills and knowledge needed for continued employment in or study of business based on the application of basic academics and business skills. Specialist content provides in-depth, solid understanding and skill development in all business functions. Supervisor content provides the same in-depth, solid understanding and skill development in all business functions as in the specialist curriculum, and in addition incorporates content that addresses the supervision of people. Manager content develops strategic decision-making skills in all business functions needed to manage a business or department within an organization. And finally, owner content develops strategic decision-making skills in all aspects of business that are needed to own and operate a business. If you go to DECA's competitive events program page on the website, deca.org/competitive events, the performance indicators list are provided for each one of the events that have them. This is a sample from a performance indicator list to show you that Tier 1 Business Administration Core has an instructional area of emotional intelligence and then a variety of performance indicators under that. The performance indicators are in the blue shaded box, and you'll notice that they have that curriculum planning level we just talked about where the arrow is pointing right behind it. So for example, describe the nature of emotional intelligence as a prerequisite performance indicator. Here's another example of a performance indicator list. This one is coming from the marketing performance indicator list, and you'll notice that it's at Tier 2. So these are knowledge and skills that are needed for all marketing careers. You'll notice that one of the instructional areas is pricing, and a couple example performance indicators include explain the nature and scope of the pricing function, describe the role of business ethics in pricing, explain the use of technology in the pricing function, explain legal considerations for pricing, and explain factors affecting pricing decisions. You'll notice that all of these have the curriculum planning level of specialist. We tried to make the performance indicator list user-friendly for your DECA members and for you as you're preparing your students for competition. Each of them are separated by Tier 1, Tier 2, and 3 that try to give the students information to know which portions they need to study for their competitive event as it relates to the information we just shared in this webinar. You can also, at deca.org/competitive events, download an exam blueprint. This blueprint shows the number of items by instructional area that will show on the DECA exams at each level of competition for this year. Finally, how do you help members select the right event? It's always important to help the students find an event that they're going to excel in based on their career interests, perhaps their job experience, and their personal strengths to the event format. So some questions to ask are, which careers within the 4 career clusters interest you the most? Do they have previous job experience that they can tie to one of the clusters? And then picking an event format. So if a student is a strong test taker, then they might want to take an event that has an exam. If they're not, they might want to do a written event. Likewise, discuss their presenter capabilities, how much they like to be able to be prepared before the presentation, and if they work well with others to determine if they want to have an individual event or a team event. Participants can also follow the flow chart that we provided on the competitive events poster earlier this year to help them match their interests and skills to the appropriate competitive event. 21st century skills are also a very important piece of DECA's competitive events program. 21st century skills are a series of skills and abilities that employers seek in their employees. The framework presents the holistic view of 21st century teaching and learning that combines a discrete focus on 21st century student outcomes. In order to succeed in today's workplace, employees must excel in the 4 C's: critical thinking and problem solving, communication, collaboration, and creativity and innovation. All of DECA's competitive events support the development of 21st century skills. For example, role-playing events require students to be problem solvers and effective communicators. Written and prepared events require students to collaborate with local businesses and team members, identify and solve complex problems, and then clearly communicate the project to others. You can learn more about 21st century skills at p21.org. One of the great things about DECA's competitive events program is that it all ties back together. So we just talked about the framework, the performance indicators, the connection to national curriculum standards, 21st century skills. The students are then evaluated at competition by industry professionals who provide feedback. They also take an exam. And then at the international career development level, conference level, we're able to provide a student transcript that documents their student achievement in that exam and role play, for example. These reports really complete the circle, giving students the ability to see their strengths and areas for opportunity within the different instructional areas on the exam, and with specific performance indicators that were met or perhaps not met on the role plays. This year, all competitors at DECA's ICDC will be receiving the student transcript. Just a couple final thoughts as you continue to build your local program. Keep in mind how DECA connects our competitive events program to national curriculum standards, career clusters, and 21st century skills, thus helping you as a DECA advisor demonstrate the alignment of DECA activities to these important educational initiatives. I'd also encourage you to consider at least one actionable item that you can implement in your teaching or in your DECA chapter to help support that connection to DECA. Thank you for participating in the Beyond the Stage webinar. Definitely please check out the additional resources that are provided as part of this webinar, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact the DECA staff. My name is Christopher Young, and my email address is christopher_young@deca.org. Good luck and best wishes to your students in competition.